What if I told you that evil has no real power except what you give it? That fear is a doorway and faith is the lock that keeps darkness out? Many believe that the spiritual realm is distant, something vague and symbolic, but those who have experienced oppression know otherwise. Darkness is real, and it seeks entry where it finds weakness. However, light is stronger, and today you will learn how to wield it. 3 verses 3 divine commands are enough to destroy any unholy force in your home. Read them, believe them, and speak them with authority. Luke 10:19. Behold, I give you the authority to trample on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. What does this mean? It means you have been given power, but power without belief is useless. You do not beg the darkness to leave, you command it. Like a soldier in battle, your words must be spoken with certainty. No hesitation, no fear. James 4:7. Submit yourselves, then, to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Notice the order: submit first, then resist. Many try to fight spiritual darkness with willpower alone, but the source of true power is in surrendering to the divine. When you align yourself with truth, darkness cannot hold its ground. It flees, not walks. Flees. Psalm 91:10-11. No evil shall befall you, nor shall any plague come near your dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. There is a shield around those who stand in righteousness. The promise is not just protection, but prevention. Evil cannot enter where light already dwells. If you make your home a place of prayer, peace, and purity, then no force of darkness can remain. Speak these verses. Daily words carry power. Let them shape the atmosphere of your home. Remove all footholds of darkness. What you allow in your home matters. Music, books, images, do they bring light or shadow? Stand firm in faith. Demons thrive on doubt. Authority is not in knowing these verses, but in believing them. Demons are not defeated by superstition or fear, but by truth spoken with unwavering conviction. Your words, backed by faith, can destroy their influence. Light has always conquered darkness. Now let it conquer yours. Evil is not merely an abstract concept, nor is it confined to the stories of old. It moves, it whispers, it seeks entry. The modern world may dismiss it as superstition, but those who have encountered its presence know better. Darkness exists, not as a metaphor, but as a force that actively works against truth, light, and peace. It does not always manifest in grand and terrifying ways. It seeps into the cracks of human weakness, fear, doubt, anger, and temptation. It disguises itself in subtlety, working through thoughts, emotions, and circumstances. And for many, it goes unnoticed until the damage has already been done. But just as evil exists, so does power over it. Spiritual warfare is not a battle fought with physical weapons, nor is it won by mere intelligence or effort. It is a war of dominion. Who holds authority, who speaks with conviction, and who understands their place in the grand design. Those who lack awareness fall prey, while those who stand in knowledge and faith remain victorious. History is filled with accounts of people who encountered unseen forces. Ancient texts speak of spirits that tormented voices that deceived and shadows that sought to consume. But they also reveal something crucial. Evil never triumphs when faced with unwavering faith. The forces of darkness depend on ignorance. They thrive where belief is weak and where fear takes root. Consider a house left unguarded. If its doors remain open and its walls crumble, intruders find easy access. But if it is fortified, if the foundation is strong and the gates are locked, no enemy can enter. The same principle applies to the spiritual realm. A mind filled with doubt, anger, or fear is like a home with open doors, but a mind shielded by faith, knowledge, and the authority given by the divine is impenetrable. The first step in understanding spiritual warfare is recognizing its reality. This is not a battle for the faint-hearted, nor is it a struggle that one can ignore. Whether acknowledged or not, it is happening, and those who refuse to engage do not remain neutral. They simply surrender without realizing it. Spiritual attacks often come disguised as ordinary struggles. Anxiety, relentless negativity, destructive habits, these are not always mere psychological battles. Sometimes they are the result of unseen forces attempting to weaken resolve and push individuals further from truth. The longer one remains unaware, the stronger the grip of these forces becomes. But there is good news. Unlike physical battles that require strength, skill, or numbers, spiritual warfare is not won through human means. Victory does not come from fighting harder, but from standing firmer. Darkness cannot stand against true authority, and that authority has already been given to those who recognize it. The spoken word holds power. Just as light dispels darkness, truth spoken with faith shatters lies. Evil does not fear human strength, it fears conviction. A person who truly understands the power they hold cannot be manipulated, cannot be deceived, and cannot be conquered. This is why knowledge is crucial. Many people struggle because they do not know their own power. They believe themselves to be victims of circumstances, helpless against the forces that seek to control them. But in reality, they were never meant to be powerless. They were given authority, yet many fail to use it because they do not even realize it is theirs. Faith is the foundation of every battle. Without it, words are empty and actions lack impact. Fear is the greatest weapon of darkness and the greatest weakness of those who wish to fight it. But faith, true, unwavering belief, renders evil powerless. Every great battle is won not by the strongest, but by the most determined. Spiritual warfare is no different. The forces of darkness rely on deception, but truth is always greater. A single moment of realization, a single act of faith, a single word spoken with conviction can shift the balance entirely. Evil has no real power except what is given to it. It can influence, but not control. It can tempt, but not force. The true danger is not in the strength of darkness, but in the weakness of those who fail to stand against it. The moment a person understands this truth, they cease to be prey and become the one who commands. The battle is not for the strongest, nor for the most knowledgeable. It is for those who choose to stand, and in standing they already hold the victory. Words are not mere sounds, they are forces. Every word spoken carries an energy that shapes reality, influences the mind, and determines the course of life. Some believe Words are fleeting. Words do not disappear, they create. They command, they establish authority. In the realm of the spiritual, words hold dominion. They are either a weapon of light or a tool of destruction. The tongue has the power to bless or to curse, to uplift or to tear down, to invite peace or to summon chaos. This is why ancient wisdom teaches that life and death are in the power of the tongue. A careless word is never truly harmless. It either builds or destroys. Spiritual warfare is not fought with physical strength. It is fought with the authority of words. Darkness does not respond to human will alone. It responds to the force behind spoken truth. Just as laws govern the physical world, spiritual laws govern unseen realms. And the spoken word activates these laws, either drawing divine protection or inviting forces that seek to corrupt and destroy. History is filled with moments where words altered destinies. Prophets spoke, and nations were changed. Leaders gave commands, and wars began or ended. Prayers were uttered, and miracles occurred. Even in personal lives, a single phrase can bring healing or devastation. What is spoken into existence carries weight, shaping the unseen before it manifests in the visible world. Faith determines the power behind words. A phrase spoken without belief holds no force, but when spoken with conviction, it shifts atmospheres. A person who commands darkness to leave without truly believing in their own authority will see no result, but one who speaks with certainty, fully aware of the power behind their words, will witness transformation. Demons do not fear empty declarations. They fear the unwavering conviction of those who know their authority. A command spoken in doubt is weak, but a single word spoken with faith is like a sword cutting through deception. This is why it is not enough to simply recite scripture or repeat affirmations. One must believe in the truth behind the word. Resistance against darkness begins with words. Silent suffering is not an act of faith. It is a surrender. To rebuke, to command, to declare truth over lies. These are not optional actions in spiritual warfare. They are necessities. Silence allows evil to remain unchecked, but words drive it out. Just as light exposes and expels darkness, truth spoken with authority dismantles the influence of deception. Fear weakens words, but confidence strengthens them. A fearful person may whisper prayers, hoping for protection, but a person who knows their spiritual authority speaks boldly, commanding the forces of darkness to leave. There is a difference between pleading for help and standing in dominion. One comes from uncertainty, the other from knowledge. The spoken word is not only a weapon but also a shield. Words of truth form a barrier that darkness cannot penetrate. When a household is filled with declarations of faith, peace, and righteousness, it becomes an impenetrable fortress. Evil finds no foothold where words of light are constantly spoken. Just as a well-guarded city repels invaders, a home where truth is declared remains secure. The enemy seeks to manipulate words. Lies are its greatest tool, whispers of doubt, deception, and fear. But truth is always greater than falsehood. When spoken aloud, truth cuts through deception, exposing the lies that attempt to weaken and enslave. A single moment of realization, a single statement of truth, can break chains that have been held for years. Words must be intentional. Careless speech weakens authority, but deliberate, faith-filled declarations strengthen it. A person who constantly speaks fear, defeat, and doubt unknowingly aligns themselves with destruction. But one who speaks life, truth, and power aligns themselves with victory. Darkness recognizes authority when it is spoken with conviction. There is no negotiation with evil, there is only command. It does not respect weakness, but it bows to true dominion. And that dominion is exercised through words backed by faith. To remain silent is to surrender ground. To speak with authority is to reclaim it. The battle is not won by those who passively hope for change, but by those who boldly declare it into existence. Scripture is not just a collection of words. It is a force, a weapon forged in divine truth. Many approach it as mere literature, reading without understanding its true power. But those who recognize its authority know that the right verses, spoken with conviction, can dismantle any force of darkness. There are words that command, words that shield, and words that destroy the works of evil. When spoken in faith, they are not just sentences, they are decrees that shift reality. Darkness cannot stand where divine truth is declared. The moment a person begins to wield these verses with understanding, they cease to be vulnerable and become warriors in the spiritual realm. The first verse is Luke 10:19. Behold, I give you the authority to trample on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. This is not a suggestion. It is a statement of authority. Many live in fear because they do not realize that they have been given dominion over darkness. Evil only thrives where people fail to exercise their power. To trample means to walk without fear, to crush underfoot what once seemed intimidating. The imagery of serpents and scorpions represents all forms of spiritual attacks, deception, temptation, oppression. But the key lies in the phrase, nothing shall by any means hurt you. This is a promise, a divine guarantee that no force of darkness has the power to overcome those who stand in faith. A person who understands this verse will never beg for deliverance. They will command it. Evil cannot argue with divine authority. It does not flee from weakness, but it flees from those who recognize their right to trample over it. Speaking this verse aloud is not just a declaration, it is an act of warfare. It is a reminder to every dark force that they have already been defeated. The second verse is James 4:7. Submit yourselves, then, to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. The order is crucial. Submit first, then resist. Many attempt to resist evil without first aligning themselves with divine authority, and they fail. Power does not come from self-will. It comes from submission to the one who holds ultimate dominion. Submission is not weakness. It is the recognition of true strength. A soldier does not fight alone. He fights under the authority of his king. Likewise, a person who submits to divine truth gains access to the full strength of the spiritual kingdom. The moment one aligns with this truth, resistance is not a struggle, it is a victory. The word resist means to actively stand against. It is not passive. It is not waiting for darkness to leave on its own. It is an intentional act, a refusal to accept deception, oppression, or fear. And the promise is clear: he will flee, not he might flee. Not he will consider leaving. He will flee. The authority behind this command is absolute. The third verse is Psalm 91, 10:11. No evil shall befall you, nor shall any plague come near your dwelling, for he shall give his angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. This is the declaration of divine protection, the shield that covers those who dwell in righteousness. It is not merely a hope, it is a covenant. Evil seeks entry where fear and doubt are present, but a house covered by faith is impenetrable. The promise is not just for the individual, but for the home itself. Nor shall any plague come near your dwelling. A home where truth is spoken, where light is present, where faith is lived. Darkness has no foothold, where divine presence is constantly acknowledged. Angels are assigned to guard those who walk in this truth. Many underestimate the power of divine protection, thinking themselves alone in battle. But they are not. The spiritual realm is not empty. It is filled with divine warriors who stand ready to defend those who stand in faith. These 3 verses are not just for reading, they are for speaking. They are weapons that must be wielded daily. A sword left in its sheath does no good in battle. Likewise, these verses must be declared, believed, and lived. The moment they are spoken with conviction, they establish authority, drive out darkness, and secure victory. Fear is a doorway. It is not just an emotion, it is an invitation. Darkness does not have power on its own, it thrives where it is welcome. And fear is one of the greatest welcomes it can receive. The more a person entertains fear, the more authority they give to the very thing they wish to avoid. Faith, on the other hand, is the lock that shuts the door. It is the unshakable force that denies darkness any access. A person cannot operate in both faith and fear at the same time. One always dominates the other. Where faith grows, fear shrinks. Where fear takes hold, faith weakens. The battle is not about avoiding fear altogether, but about choosing which force to nurture. Fear distorts reality. It magnifies problems, making them appear bigger than they truly are. It clouds judgment, causing people to react instead of stand firm. It breeds anxiety, doubt, and hesitation. Most importantly, fear paralyzes. It convinces people that they are powerless, stripping them of the authority they were given. Faith, however, does the opposite. It brings clarity. It shrinks problems to their true size and reminds people of their power. It strengthens resolve, allowing individuals to act with confidence. Faith is not just believing in a higher power, it is knowing beyond doubt that darkness has already been defeated. The reason fear is so dangerous is that it is self-perpetuating. Fear feeds on itself. A single fearful thought left unchecked grows into an uncontrollable storm. It spreads from one area of life to another, affecting decisions, relationships, and actions. What begins as a small worry can evolve into full spiritual oppression if it is not resisted. Faith must be an active choice. It is not a feeling that comes and goes. It is a decision that must be made daily. A person cannot wait for fear to disappear before they begin to act in faith. They must step forward in faith first, and fear will dissipate as a result. Just as light does not wait for darkness to leave, it simply shines. Faith does not wait for fear to pass. It moves forward despite it. Fear is deceptive. It masquerades as wisdom, caution, and logic. It convinces people that avoiding risk is the safest option. But in reality, fear is the most dangerous place to dwell. It is a spiritual prison that limits a person's potential, keeping them bound by what-ifs and worst-case scenarios. Faith is liberation. It unlocks doors that fear tries to keep closed. It allows a person to walk boldly where others hesitate. It removes limitations and opens the way for divine intervention. Faith does not ignore reality, but it refuses to be controlled by it. It acknowledges problems but stands firm in the belief that solutions exist. Darkness depends on fear. It has no true power except what is given to it. The moment a person refuses to fear, they strip evil of its influence. This is why fear-based thinking is constantly reinforced in the world through media, through negative experiences, through society. The more people are conditioned to be afraid, the more powerless they become. Faith is the rebellion against this conditioning. It is the refusal to be controlled by fear, the determination to stand firm despite circumstances. Faith is not about being reckless. It is about being unshakable. It is the understanding that no matter what happens, darkness cannot win unless it is allowed to. Fear weakens words. A person who prays in fear begs for help, unsure if they will receive it. A person who prays in faith commands results, knowing that they already have victory. The difference is not in the words themselves, but in the authority behind them. Faith is offensive, not defensive. It does not just protect, it conquers. It does not wait for attacks to come. It moves forward, dismantling strongholds before they can take root. Those who live in faith do not merely survive spiritual battles, they win them. Fear must be starved. It cannot be reasoned with or negotiated. It must be rejected outright. The moment a fearful thought arises, it must be replaced with truth. The longer fear is entertained, the stronger its grip becomes. But the moment faith is chosen, fear loses its power. The mind is a battleground. Every thought is a choice between faith and fear. And the winner is determined not by circumstances, but by what is allowed to take root. Faith is always the stronger force, if only it is given room to grow.